So we're going to take a look at the Sonic Pad. I'm going to tell you what it is, what it does, and whether or not you should buy it. So in order to explain what the Sonic Pad is, I'm just going to go super basic and just tell you that it is a single board computer attached to a touchscreen. So that in itself is not really special. The special part is the software that it's running. The software is called Clipper, and it's an open source software that allows you to better control your printer. So the thing that you probably care the most about is the fact that it can allow you to print much faster but still retain quality. The other special thing about the Sonic Pad is that it is essentially plug and play as long as the printer that you have is compatible with the Sonic Pad. So as of right now, most of the Ender 3s are compatible, along with I think the Ender 5, as well as some of the CR10s. So if your printer is compatible, all you have to do is connect your printer via USB, download a firmware file, flash it to your printer, and you're basically good to go. If your printer is not, there is still a way to make it work. It is definitely more involved. I would say it's more for advanced users. I have not even attempted it myself simply because the process is pretty lengthy. So I myself, when I first received it, it was not compatible with the S1 Plus. So I did have to wait a few days for a firmware update to be released so it could be compatible. So that's what the Sonic Pad is. So what does it do? So this is the kind of the home screen, the default screen. So as you can see, it has the hot end temperature, the bed temperature, what it is, and then it has a cool feature where you can actually select multiple printers. So at this point, I only have one printer connected to it. So if I wanted to, I can connect up to 4. And there are USB ports. There's 2 there, and there's actually 2 on the back. So you can connect up to 4 printers, which definitely comes in handy if you have, let's say, maybe a print farm, or you just have more than one printer and you want to hook them all up. So pretty awesome. I haven't tried. I mean, again, I don't have another printer. Definitely something I want to do. I have my eye on that Ender 5 S1, so maybe I can hook that up here. But again, this is the home screen. So again, you have the hot end temperature, the bed kind of gives you a visualization of a bar there, and then it actually gives you a line graph there of where the heat is, which is pretty helpful. It does some of the movements, so it does allow you to move the printer, so all home, all axes. So there it's homing the printer. So in this menu, you can move any of the stepper motors in different increments, and then you can also unlock the motors. So if you want to manually move it yourself. Also here you can preheat. So I use this option very often simply because sometimes I want to preheat, get the bed going, or maybe I need to change filaments. So right now I actually am going to preheat because I want to show you some of the menus when you're actually printing, but I want to preheat for that. So it gives you PLA, PETG as the defaults, and then you can also change to whatever increment you want there. And then here you can go to controls. You can control extrusion if you want to maybe push out a little bit of filament or push the filament back. Also gives you distance in millimeters, and also you can make it move it a little faster if you want. So extrude, hopefully you can see that, extrude and retract. And then we have fan speeds. You can, unfortunately you can't turn off the hot end fan, it's kind of stuck on, but you can turn on the parts cooling fan. And then you can just turn it off. You also have temperature, so that's the same menu where we preheated, and then you can turn the stepper motors off from there. From here we have configuration. So here you can set your manual Z. So basically this lets you use the knobs on each corner to set the level. You can use auto level, which this does use the probe, the CR touch, and then you can do probe on the Z height. And then here you have network settings. You can either do wired. It does have an Ethernet port on the back, and then you can go here. You're going to need to go into this section to find your IP address in order to connect remotely. So one thing to note, you can connect if you are on the same network as the Sonic Pad. If you're out, let's say you step out and you want to check it, unfortunately, this is supposed to be open source, but unfortunately Creality has not completely open sourced it just yet, so that functionality is not working. So if you are familiar with Clipper, just know that that functionality is not there. If this is your first time with Clipper, that may not matter. So just kind of keep that in mind. And then we have local information, just kind of gives you information about the printer there. Movement parameters, this is a new one, so you can actually kind of change your acceleration and accel to decel, velocity, and square corner velocity. I haven't messed with this, so I really don't know what that does. So I will leave that for the experts because I don't know what that is. You can also connect a camera to this. I can verify that it does work. I don't know where my camera is, so unfortunately I can't show you, but just know that that does work. I do have a Logitech camera, and it did work. So you have other settings. You can do screen brightness. Let's see, the screen timeout, language settings, regional settings, theme. There's actually no theme, which I think is kind of weird. Must be something for future. Time switching. I think that has either like the current time, and then it also has, I'm going to assume that's the total time of printing. I don't know, I never understood what that was, but hey. System upgrade. Let's go into advanced options. So this, the only reason that I go into advanced options is for measure resonance. In this case, you need a accelerometer, which it does come with. So this is how you measure the resonance for the input shaping. So this is what allows for you to print fast and retain that quality, because it measures vibrations in the machine and then it allows you to cancel them out using the stepper motors. So that's kind of the secret sauce of Clipper. So here you can measure for the S1, or if you have an Ender 5 style bed, and then you attach it. In this case, I printed this out, so you attach it there for the x-axis, and then you attach it to the bed. I usually attach it to the back because there's a screw there for the y-axis. Let's see. So yeah, you can actually also flip the screen if you wanted to, so it gives you that. So that's mainly it for settings and stuff. I do want to show you what it actually looks like to print. So here you can use the web interface in order to send files directly to the Sonic Pad, which is the only way that I send anything to the pad. You can also use a USB stick, which unfortunately there is none. You can use Creality Cloud. Also, if you click on the print itself, it does give you a little picture. Unfortunately, it doesn't give you much information, but does give you a nice picture of it. So I will start printing, so that way I can show you that screen too. So let it do its thing. So this is the Sonic Pad while it's actually printing. So it gives you a nice picture of the STL file, the percentage to completion, the name of the file, the status of what it's doing. It has the temperature of the hot end, the bed. It has the actual locations of the X, Y, and Z. Has the speed, the flow rate, the fan speed, the print time, so that's how much time it's actually been printing, the estimated remaining time, and the number of layers. It also does have the speed. So the speed, although it is there, it actually can vary depending on the model. If it's a big model, it might be a little more accurate. If it's a smaller one, since it's kind of whipping around and moving real fast, it may not be as accurate. It also does give you the option to pause and or completely stop the print. So here it does give you some options. So you can change the Z height, You can adjust it between 0.1 or 0.5 increments. You can change the speed and the flow, and you can do that between 1, 5, 10, and 25% increments. You can change the temperature of your hot end, also of the hot end and the bed, and then you can also change the fan speed. So unfortunately you can't turn off or on the hot end fan, but you can change the print cooling fan. So it gives you some options there. It does have the acceleration. Again, I have not used this, but this one seems to actually move on the fly. This also does have the configuration options. Unfortunately, while it's printing, some of these options just don't work simply because you're printing, like the manual level, the auto level, or the probe calibration. So those just won't work. All right. So those are some of the things that the Sonic Pad does. In my opinion, one of the best features is just that user interface. It just makes sending prints and monitoring prints so much easier. So the other awesome thing about the Sonic Pad is just the speed that you can print at, and just so much time that is saved. For instance, this beer crate that I printed one before, and I was in the fridge, so it is cold. I did print one of these with the stock Ender 3 S1 Plus. It took me over 2 days to print this. On the Sonic Pad, or on the same printer, same everything, same settings. I did upgrade the cooling fan. Now that's the only difference. With the Sonic Pad, this took 23 hours and 43 minutes to be exact. So under 24 hours for the exact same file, exact same size, exact same layer height. So everything was the same. Only difference was the Sonic Pad, and then the cooling fans were upgraded. So that's the only other difference. So the question remains, should you buy the Sonic Pad? If you're a beginner, you definitely want to make sure that you understand the ins and outs of the machine. If you're more experienced, it's a no-brainer. It is $170, $150, depending on where you're buying it from, but it is well worth the price. So thanks for your time. I'll catch you on the next one.